Been a fairly interesting, if not really successful, deer hunt here in Illinois this year for marten. I was fortunate the first time I went out with a crossbow, I was able to get a nice tender doe and put that in the freezer. I do like to eat nice tender venison, and I found that even a young buck like this, I'd much prefer a doe of the same age because they're a lot very tender. The taste is fine either way probably, but when you get ones like this, even there's a reason that we don't eat bulls when we go to the meat market to buy our beef, and so I try to stay with the females for my harvest. And here in Illinois we have enough deer that we need to take the does, and so there's no problem with me taking does. And I'm not against taking a big buck, but I usually let these little boys go and let them grow up, and as you can see, they're really not much of a challenge anyway. In my deer hunting, I think that strategy to me is probably most of the fun of trying something new and trying to figure something out, look in an area and say, okay, are the deer going to be here and how's this work? And that's why I put a stand up in this area here, that way up on the north end of where we can hunt. And we hunt up there a lot, but this was a new idea. The first day I hunted it, it was a rainy day, but I did see 5 bucks moving through the area. I didn't see any does, but the bucks were definitely moving up in that area, so that was very encouraging. And then I hunted several times, and the one time I was up there and I knew something was going on over the woods, and that huge buck was over there along with a couple smaller bucks, and I'm sure there must have been a doe they were after in there, but that buck's gonna show up later in my hunt. Down here for the 2022 Illinois gun deer season. Thought I'd spend the night down at the shack, and then I got a deer stand, just a couple 300 miles north, and make it a lot easier to get out of bed and rolling out and driving and walking and everything else. So I'm here for the night. I got the fire going. I got to go outside and split a little more wood, so I don't have to mess with that the next couple of days as I enjoy the hunt. Feels pretty good right now. The wind's not blowing hard, but it's going to drop down well below freezing tonight. See, we got a little snow on the ground. It's going to hang in there with little crusty stuff. Tomorrow, it's not going to get back up to freezing, and the wind's going to blow pretty good, so extra gear to take. Get a little more wood split here, so I'm all good. One more. I was down earlier in the season a few times and got the yard mowed up, got it knocked down. Did I say in that previous clip about 300 miles from here? Well, if I did, I meant 300 yards north, so must be getting buck fever already. The Illinois gun season is in two parts. In this, like deer, not quite getting that shot, not that I would have taken that one anyway, or this one came out and, well, he's got a bad hoof. I don't think it's anything of a hunter did. I think he just probably got caught in a fence or hit by a car. But anyway, small bucks, a lot of entertainment. Hot. It's November the 30th. Tomorrow morning is our second Illinois deer season. It'll be December 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, Thursday through Sunday. Down here at the shack, and we'll spend the night down here, and then not very far to walk over to the stand I picked out to hunt this season. It's a stand that I haven't used it in a number of years because, well, for one thing, it was so easy. I called it my meat stand. Well, this year my season hasn't been going well. I just haven't had I've been seeing deer, but I've only taken one doe for the freezer, and so tomorrow it's time to maybe go out and get serious about this and maybe not be quite so picky. Well, anyway, since the last season I changed out the wood stove here at the shack. This one was a friend gave me years ago, and they quit using it, and I was going to take it up to that new guest cabin I was going to build up in Minnesota, but I got thinking with the nice glass door and all that, I'd get a lot more use out of it, enjoy it a lot more down here, so I'll put something else up there. Boy, this thing will put out the heat. Got me cooking pretty good on this side right now. The best thing about it is it holds the fire for hours and hours, and that little cone job that was in here, my goodness sakes, I'd wake up in 2.5 hours cold, and I'd have to use papers to get the fire going again. So anyway, nice little improvement. It just may be a little harder to leave the shack to go out on a cold deer stand with this thing cooking. Anyway, good times. I'm going to pan around, and this is the view from what I call my meat stand. And, well, already this morning, I didn't shoot anything. Everything was, again, just kind of half a second off this year for me getting a good shot off. But I think I saw 7 or 8 deer there before I even took this video, but none of them presented a good shot. Now, with only a few days left, I do want to get some more venison in the freezer, so even when I went back to the shack to throw a log in the fire and eat my lunch in the warmth, I kind of sat by the window to see if anything might pass by in the woods over there. But like the rest of my season, it seemed pretty uneventful. A good time, but uneventful. We usually just hunt from our tree stands, but when we really want to get some meat, sometimes we start doing a few little deer drives, just, one man, my brother coming toward me through a little spot of woods. And this particular maybe the second day of the season. He came through a little area and he pushed a bunch of deer by that, again, the whole thing was they just close but no cigar, and then they were gone, and then right near kind of finishing up, he wasn't that far away, and then this big buck that I'd seen earlier during the bow season. Now, this was a picture I snatched from that earlier shot. I was trying to shoot him this time, so I didn't take a picture. But anyway, you just look at the size of the horns on this buck, and that's the one that came running right at me. And I knew I had to get a good shot and shoot before it got too close, because then you can't get an aim on him. And right when I was ready to squeeze the trigger, it ran behind a tree on a fallen log, and it's living to grow even bigger for next year. We knew a big buck like that was around because we were seeing these big trees scraped like this, rubs. And usually when a buck goes after the tree of this size, it's been our experience that it is a big, big deer. This is a trail cam shot of another buck in the area. Now this is a decent buck, but nothing like that big monster rack. This one has a big body, but the horns are fairly medium. People always talk about hunting for the bucks, but I just want you to note here this. I think I still have some scent where I put this camera up, and this doe comes in, and you can see that she's alert, realizes there's something wrong. She doesn't hang around very long at all before she clears out. Now, yeah, see, nervous like that, and that's why it's really harder to get my tender does than it is these crazy little young bucks. Now watch what he does. He comes in, I mean, the same scent is there that alarmed that doe, and this buck comes in, just sniffs the same things, and unfortunately, maybe it's the hormones, but doesn't have a clue. So in summary, through early December, I've had a very fun deer season. I've seen a lot of deer. I've seen some really nice antlers, as I've shown you there. And this year I've started to put up more of these ladders. I can pick them up cheap, and rather than try to, for the years I've used the screw steps, but as I get older I've just found it so much easier. Maybe a deer will spot that one day, but it sure saves my back, and it's a lot safer for me to use these. So I've still got some time to go out with a crossbow. Here in Illinois, this season still runs on for another 5 weeks. So I'll be out there if the weather's decent. Maybe I'll come across that big buck before the season closes.